Check these out. These are makeshift shelters that are popping up around Jacumba Hot Springs. Pallets covered in tarps. Volunteers actually built them for the migrants detained by Border Patrol out in the elements to protect them until they can get into an indoor detention facility. But volunteers believe the federal government and even some local vandals keep tearing them down.
They just started destroying them.
John Schultz says the federal government hired a demolition crew to tear down shelters he and others built around Jacumba Hot Springs.
The wind howls through there. It's one of the windiest places in the county, and it's always considerably colder there.
Each time they get destroyed, John and the other volunteers rebuild them to help these migrants that make their way to Jacumba.
They're in very bad shape. A lot of them tell me that they haven't eaten for days. A lot of them don't even have any water. Oftentimes they're robbed while they're in Mexico. A lot of people like to assume that everyone that's coming through is just single men. It's definitely not the case. I would say between 30 to 40%, something like that, of the migrants that I see are women and children.
Once they surrender to Border Patrol, CBP keeps them out here until they can be processed at an indoor facility.
It's unofficial. Yeah, the Border Patrol will not recognize that they're being detained. They claim that they are free to go whenever they want to. But if anyone was to try and leave, the Border Patrol would apprehend them and then return them back to there.
The makeshift shelters were destroyed by the demo crew at the end of February.
And we rebuilt that. And then 2 days later after that, on March the 2nd, a group of civilians showed up and destroyed them a second time. They also knocked over some porta potties that were subcontracted by the Border Patrol, as well as a potable water tank that was also subcontracted.
Subcontracted means your tax dollars paid for that.
We filed a report to the sheriff. He said that the deputy would call us back, but that never happened. We haven't heard anything from them.
The shelters, the porta potties, and water tank are all back up. John says they'll keep rebuilding them if they have to because they can't leave migrants out in the elements, not in his hometown.
Whether you agree with them coming in or not, I don't think anyone can agree that it's a good idea to put them through all of this.
Now, I reached out to Customs and Border Patrol and the San Diego County Sheriff's Office about this to find out, number one, why CBP tore down the shelters and if the Sheriff's Department is looking into the vandals who tore them down. Neither have gotten back to me. Of course, we'll continue to try to get answers and bring that to you when I get that.
So a question people might be asking, because these are being torn down, are they on public or private property?
Yeah, of course, we asked that. Now, some are on, there is one that's butted up against Bureau of Land Management land, so that's federal land, but it's private property out there. And I spoke with one of the private property owners today. He actually said he wants those shelters there, and he's upset that people got onto his land and tore them down. And he's part of the people that helped rebuild them.
Do we have any clarity on whether the shelters that were torn down by CBP were on public or private property? Because you mentioned we had them doing some tear down, but we had vandals doing it as well.
Well, the guy that caught John, who caught the demo group, because they're really spread out there, according to him, he only caught the crew tear them down on, he's not sure if it was public or private land, and
so
he doesn't know
still some questions out there. But
the guy that owns the private property, they saw it after the fact that it was torn down. He doesn't know who tore it down.
All right, much more to go on that, but a lot going on there. Some people committing a crime while CBP enforcing the law. Interesting situation. Thanks, Anna.